All right, getting this stream set up. Let's see if it's showing up online, and it is showing up online. There we are. We are
Mm.
live for the first time on YouTube, anyway. How's it feel,
Yeah.
Alex?
Oh wow. I don't know. I accidentally. Yeah. Well, we're here because I had it playing and I heard you say it twice and confused the hell out of me. So yeah, we're here. So cheers to that, I guess.
Yeah, man. Cheers to that. For anybody tuning in or watching this later, we just decided on a whim. It's we've been doing this podcast. How many weeks in a row has this podcast
This will
been
be
going?
49. 49.
49. We're coming up 3 weeks
And we
away
may
from
have
our
missed a
one
week or
year.
two in there, but
I don't think we ever missed a week. Some of us have not. I have missed
no, there
several
is. I
weeks.
think there's at
You've
least
been
one
here
week we
every week.
skipped a week, but like an actual like chronicle. Like we've
Oh, you
not
are
skipped
right. Yeah.
like actual podcast. We have almost 52 episodes. That'll be a full year, but we did skip one week in there. So our full. I don't remember the first day we came live, but we'll make sure we know that when that day comes,
Yeah.
we will do nothing about it but mention it. So
Yeah, it's been a while even since we've been on YouTube. I think the last time we posted anything was in January when I think it was that like Oculus Quest 2 like tips and tricks video that we posted, which got up to about 130 views, which I was pretty like stoked about, to be honest. Like it was steadily showing those increases as we were getting more and more content out.
yeah, well, we'll get there. I mean, it's still the beginning. I mean, and
Yeah.
if you're only listening to this, next time we'll have a little bit more notice of going live. We chose this on a
This is a
whim to
last
just
minute
do it.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just life. It is what it is. We have been contemplating then renaming this podcast. Maybe we'll wait until episode 53. It'll be a whole new season, whole new name. Yeah, maybe that should be the best bet. Maybe we should wait for that. I don't know what you think, Matt, but
It'd be fun. I don't know. We for longtime listeners of this podcast, you know that we've teased the idea of coming up with a different name just for the podcast. We even threw it out there, say, hey, put it in the comments if there's any names. We have one that we really like, but I'm still interested. And I think you're right, Alex. Maybe let's not tease what we're thinking, but maybe somebody could sway
I
us.
already did.
Anybody who's
I think I already said it,
watching or
but I don't
listening.
know.
If you are watching, feel free to pop it into the comments. If you're not, whatever, let us know later. Let us know on Instagram, however else you choose to interact with us.
Yeah,
I'm sure
make
most of
fun
our
of our
listeners.
backgrounds if you're watching.
Yeah,
I mean,
mine's a little bit in disarray.
mine's a little bit more, I would say more, nerdy than I guess, but
Mine is
it
in
is
a
what it is.
combination of like I have cleaned it up a little bit. It was very messed up after I had some water come into my basement. I missed a recording session 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, due
Something like that.
to my basement flooding literally as I was going downstairs to have dinner before we were going to record. I realized, oh no, I've got water coming in from the major rainstorm, and so I still got to remove the carpet in this room. This room wasn't too bad, but I've just decided I'm doing all new flooring.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta
Yeah.
do what you gotta do. Anyways,
But I did have an idea for this.
no,
For anybody watching, I did have an idea of maybe doing a video on Play Pause on our YouTube channel of because when I go to start working on this room, I'm probably going to be doing some drywall. I might actually be putting up a wall in here as well. And I was thinking if people want to come along for the ride, they could see what goes into kind of my home theater setup. And I'm probably going to be moving some speakers around, running new speaker wire, running a new HDMI cord to that projector because the one that's there is not high quality enough for this guy. So
would never
let me
be
know.
high quality enough for me. So you know,
What do you have against projectors, Alex? I know
we've
we've
gone
talked
through
about
this
this
millions
before,
of
but
times.
like I truly
I
want to
can
know.
always just tell, like, it doesn't feel HD enough. I'm just so used to digital, you know? And maybe it's just because it's never dark enough in anyone's house, or I'm sitting too close to it. I
Mhm.
don't know. It just never feels natural enough, like a digital TV would. I
Hmm.
don't know. It's just me, maybe. I don't know.
I'd love to hear what our listeners think about that. Just like have you experienced at home projections? Like my projector's pretty old, like it's almost a 10-year-old projector, and I do want to upgrade it at some point to something a bit more modern, hence why I want to upgrade the cable that's running to it. But like I love a big like it's I know what you're saying. The quality isn't as good, but
It has to be
there's something
pitch
about
black.
a
Like it has
big
to be
screen, you know what I mean?
pitch black, and it's got to be, there can't be any light source, and that's,
Mhm.
I think that's my problem, because
Mhm.
the tiniest bit of light touches that screen,
On the screen.
and it just, I don't know, it just, or somebody walks through it and through the screen, or
It just takes
you
you right out of
know
the
it's just,
experience.
that's just me. But I grew up with televisions the whole time. I grew up in theaters as well, but I'm used to the
Yeah.
big theaters where it
I mean,
is,
you were
pretty
a
dark.
projectionist. Let's talk about that for a minute. You
Yeah, but
were a
that's different.
projectionist in the theater.
48 inch film is different than a digital projector. And
Mhm.
then a digital, like a home digital projector.
Yeah.
Um and then obviously the big fucking monsters. Um the big guys, the big digital ones that everyone uses now. I mean, those are very, very, very powerful machines. So I mean, they're different than, again, from a home one. If you had one of those in your home, hey, good for you. You must
Yeah,
know
well, like,
somebody
and
at
this is just
Christie
it, like,
Digital.
when I replace this thing, I'm not gonna go with a budget projector, let me tell you right now. I am kinda scoping out that mid to higher price ones. I recently found out that like even like the higher price ones that I was looking at is like babies higher priced projectors. Like they can quickly get to $3,000 and $5,000, which you're at that point you're looking at more than a lot of like OLED TVs are going for right now. But like if
Yeah.
you want like the best of the best projectors, like you're talking $7,000-8,000 very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm not game to go that high. $3,000 to me is like an expensive projector, and I found LG's got some laser projectors, which apparently do a really excellent job with black levels, which is always
Mhm.
a struggle when you're shining light on a screen. Your blacks are always going to come out gray. So
Yeah.
if a laser isn't a bulb, it's not a traditional like just projection. There shouldn't be that, and from what I understand, like it's more or less just black. So that I want to see. I want to see what it looks like and compare.
Absolutely. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But
Speaking of projectors, though, where were we just yesterday?
I don't know, where
We
were
were
we? My
together in
whole life's a
person.
mess. I don't remember anything. Um,
Yeah, we were at the theater, man. We were at the theater seeing a movie.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did do that. I remember. I'm just I'm being a dick. Or am I? Or do I
Yes.
have serious mental memory issues? You tell me, people. You
Well,
tell me.
folks, listeners, well, not current listeners, nobody's listening right now, but future listeners, when you are watching this,
Exactly.
Alex and I, if you didn't see already on our Instagram story today, we checked out Bond last night, No Time to Die, which is a funny movie because this is kind of like we opened this podcast with talking about how many episodes there's been of this podcast, and I'm
Mhm.
fairly confident on one of the first episodes, if not the first episode of this podcast, we talked about No Time to Die because it was expected to come out
Absolutely. It was supposed to come out
a year ago.
April. In April,
Yeah,
yeah, of 2020.
yeah. So
So
actually, it was supposed to come out before we even recorded our first episode. And here we are, October 2021, way past the original release date. And, I have ripped on their decision to postpone it so many times, so far back. It got to the point that I didn't know when to expect this movie to come out. They finally decided to release it. And having seen it now, I think I made a comment to you in the theater, but I think I have a better understanding as maybe why they chose to delay it as long as they did, and it had to do with some themes in the movie. But before I dive into that, what were your initial impressions on it, Alex?
so I'm sorry, I'm hearing an echo of my own here of headphones, and it bothers me sometimes. But um so here's the thing about Bond itself. Bond has always been a fickle movie industry. Is it an industry? Franchise. Franchise is the better word. Um because each one is almost the same and each one's a little bit different. They all have some weird villain in it. They always have some weird, and some interesting gadgets, and they always have obviously the James Bond PP7 or whatever it is. His little pistol of choice, which he can accurately shoot every single time. Um, which so I understand that he's a trained assassin
Mhm.
or whatever, so he'll never miss. I get that, but come on, miss once. Um, but yeah, so yeah, it was okay. So for the best thing that came out of this movie was actually the way it was shot. It was very directively, it was actually really well done in that sense. Like the way they chose how to shoot things, and I think that was the best thing came out of it. I mean, it had a poor choice of a villain. The villain was as most Bond villains are very weak-willed. Um and but so I don't know. That's really it. Like Daniel Craig is Daniel Craig as
Mm.
Bond. Like there is some emotion. Like I think this one had a little bit more emotion out of him, obviously,
Yeah.
without spoiling anything. But yeah, it was a Bond film. It was one of the
Well, that's the thing
most
that, like, I wanna hone in on
Bond
that you
films.
just said. Like,
Yeah, it was
it
one of
is
the
the most Bond film of the Daniel Craig Bonds.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt the most Bond. There was the most sayings, the most, like, callbacks in terms of, like, the pose shot. We got Shaken Not Stirred, which, comes full circle from Casino Royale when he decided to change it up and not, do the stereotypical Bond order. Um, you called out that, hey, like, you can miss once in a while, right? And I think something that we saw earlier, I think it was in Skyfall when he was like beaten down and bloodied, and he wasn't accurate, right? He struggled to get through the training regimen and the approval to go out there and really do what he does. Um, so to see him in this was really like the penultimate Bond. This is all of the experiences, all of the traumas, the struggles, everything, and he came in his finest form, his final form, if you will, for those Dragon Ball Z fans. He really just showed up, and this was the best Bond we've seen, like, as the character. Not saying it's the
Yeah,
best
for
movie,
sure, for sure.
best version of Bond, at least in the Daniel Craig era of Bond.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's pretty accurate what you said. I mean, there were still a lot of flaws for it for me. Like there's still the whole love story of Bond itself.
Hmm.
That really bothered me. Like it just I don't know. Like the love scenes were just a little. I know it's Bond and he's a womanizer in that sense, and he isn't
Yeah.
in this one, I guess. But um,
He is and he isn't, right? Like he has those
yeah,
kind of same like vibes and sayings when he's working with the ladies, but nothing goes anywhere, right? He's it's the 2021 version, right? They're not just gonna have the damsel in distress everywhere you look. It's women are capable, and it's shown time and time again in this movie, right?
yeah, exactly. And but I just felt I understand where they were going with this story, and I mean, if you watched all of them, even Spectre, it all ties all of it together
Hmm.
and kind of ends that storyline. And you kind of see why this was a definitive end for Daniel Craig without really spoiling much.
Yeah.
It was an end for this story of Bond, which is good. I mean, if they kept this going with another actor, I think it'd be a little bit um, weaker, to say
Yeah.
the least. But um, yeah, I think it's worth. So we rated it earlier. I posted on the Facebooks and the Instagrams our rating, and I gave it a 6.8. Matt, you gave it a 7.8. I'm overly critical about these kind of movies. Well, I'm less critical about other ones that don't deserve critics in general. That's why you're more critical for movies that don't deserve critics. So that's how we see
We
how
have
our
range. We
opposite.
have different views when it comes to movies and what makes a good movie, and I think that's important because it
Well,
gives
yeah,
different,
because
you know,
you treat every
perspectives.
movie almost the same, and I treat each movie as how crappy it's
Mm.
supposed to be.
Mm.
So that's
Mhm.
why You know what I mean? When we came to the Mortal Kombat one, you said it was trash. I said it was
Yep.
for what it was, and it was it is what it is.
But it was trash.
Like you know what I mean? So
Yeah. No,
uh
I'm right there with you.
so
Um,
I mean, which is fair on your point to treat every movie the same, but I'm saying,
hmm.
but not every movie is the same, so you got to treat it differently. It's like schooling. It's like you got to teach every kid the same, or you got to treat each kid differently. Who knows? One's
Actually,
more conservative, one's not conservative. Who
quick
knows?
segue, and we'll come back to this. Finish up with Bond in a moment. But I was reading an article earlier today. I think it was posted on the Washington Post, and it was talking about how video games are currently reviewed in the industry and how it's like not a great system how games are reviewed, because basically it's a bunch of people trying to tell other people whether or not to invest their time and how much time goes into it and all that kind of stuff. And I think, like, at the end of the day, people need to go and form their own opinions. This whole industry of allowing critics to decide for you if a movie is worth watching or not, or playing a game is worth it or not. Everybody has different tastes. Everybody has different opinions. Like, gone are the days of just walking into Blockbuster or a Rogers Video, a Jumbo Video, and looking across the shelf and just saying like, "Oh, this has a cool box art. I'm going to check it out." Yeah, it could be terrible, but sometimes you found really good movies, and then that word of mouth spread, and like it was your own opinion. And now I just feel like, because of how powerful the internet is, and people listening to things like this and taking our word for it, if you do, hey, thanks, but I don't think you should. I still think you should go and form your own opinion. And then
I
let us know
agree.
what your
I
opinion is.
agree.
And if you disagree with us, tell us, because like I genuinely want to hear why you may have enjoyed something like Mortal Kombat that I didn't. And yeah, anyway, so coming back to Bond,
Yeah.
yeah, the reason why I gave it a full 1 point higher than Alex was because he got the right amount of dad jokes in there. That was really important for me.
Maybe
I
that's the
needed
reason why I gave it less. Who knows?
that.
No, I mean, I felt like for me, the real reason I gave one less, again, it was, I mean, the story was there, but it also wasn't.
Mhm.
And which just sounds so non-answery as it is, but um, it like it had a, you knew where it was going to be, and you knew where it was going to end,
Mhm.
and that's all it was. There was no like filler side stories. There were no nothing, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Mhm.
But like you didn't learn anything really about 007, the new one. You didn't learn anything about you didn't see anything with a strong character, Moneypenny. You just have to assume you know who
Mhm.
she is.
Yeah.
Well, we do because you see her throughout all his
Everything was
movies. But
pre-established. Totally. Yeah.
the only thing they really improved on from the other ones is that they gave Q a lot more time. And you literally,
Mhm.
like, a lot of it was callbacks to Spectre and a lot of callbacks
Yeah.
to pretty much Spectre. Like the whole cats thing in Q's apartment and all that
Yep.
stuff. Like that was a callback to Spectre. Um, so, which is cool, I guess, in a sense. And then you see, yeah. So there's a lot to going on. I mean, they again, like this Daniel Craig series was a reboot of the Bond franchise.
Yeah.
So I feel like we don't know where they're going to go next. We don't know how they're going to go next. If they're going to be able to go next, because the Fleming family is, or Sony, one of them. I can't remember who it is. Somebody's fighting somebody in the Bond
Well,
world, and
Sony doesn't have it anymore, right? MGM has it
no,
now.
MGM has it, and they've had it.
Yeah.
Well, MGM's had it forever. So it was Universal got
Right.
hold of it or something eventually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sony
Yeah.
lost the rights to it,
Yep.
and the last few ones or something, and then so now there's a whole fight between Fleming because they don't believe that this is the prediction, the
Mm.
how the Bond was from the books, and they don't like
Mhm.
it or something. That's what I read. I don't know. So we'll see. And and they definitely are going to hate it if they go black. It's just true. I mean, I'm not trying to sound racist, like make them sound local racist
Yeah.
or anything.
No.
I just, if you have a character that's portrayed by the mate, the like patriarch of your family,
Yeah.
who's made you all your money, and
Yep.
the character gets changed, it's not going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you stick to what Daniel Craig says. Why does it half Bond have to be a different person? Why can't we just write films for those kind of people? Which is fair.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for that comment specifically, he was talking about like the
James
idea of a
Bond.
woman coming in
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
portraying
I
Bond.
mean, it's
And
you're saying the same thing for colored people too, right? And
And
like
like
whatever.
even if you take his point, which like got some controversy, like I like the way I viewed what he was saying is that he was saying like, hey, like James Bond is a character. Why can't there be an equivalent character for a woman in the same universe. I think that's fine. I think
Mhm,
he could have a
mhm.
child, and that child could come and replace him as Bond because the child would share the same last name potentially, right? So like
Yeah.
there's that option, if you take what he was saying, if you wanted, a Bond portrayed by a woman. Like why like I don't think you need to take the stories that we've been told as James Bond and then repurpose it for a female actress. And the same can be said, as you said, for somebody of a different ethnicity could come in and again portray a character in that universe and be this badass. We've seen mixed success with it, right? If you look at the Bourne series, they tried it with Jeremy Renner as
Yeah.
it's like, newborn. In what movie was that one called? It was called the Born.
Identity? No, Born
No,
Identity
that
is
was
the
the
first one.
first one.
Um,
Born
Legacy?
with. Oh, yep. That's it.
Born Ultimatum Legacy or Born
No, just
Identity
Born
History?
Legacy. Born
Born
Ultimatum was
Legacy.
the third one. It was Born Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum. Then they did Legacy, and then there's a new. I think the latest one's just called Jason Bourne, and that's the one with Matt Damon back.
Yeah.
And so that was a flop, right? Like obviously they didn't
Mhm.
continue with that, and we don't know if that was just because maybe the story was bad, maybe people just didn't want a different character in that. Who knows? But we've also seen it where it does work out well in Doctor Who, which is
Yep.
a nice segue because Jodie Whittaker, the current Doctor and the first female Doctor, has just wrapped filming her final episodes as the Doctor.
Well, her final season, because I
Final
think they're
season.
still gonna do another special with her, because they're doing the 60th special, and she's gonna be part of
Mhm.
that, from what I'm to understand. And I
Right.
think that's when she transforms,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Transforms, you know what I mean. I'm a very bad Doctor Who fan right there, but regenerates is the word I
Yeah.
was looking for. But yeah, so we'll see. I haven't watched. I have to finish last season still of
Mhm.
Doctor Who, and then obviously a new one. They brought in a new companion in this new season coming up.
Mhm.
The two gentlemen left from the last
Right.
group. Because one of like the older gentleman, I forget his name as an actor, but he hosts a TV show in the UK, so that's funny.
Oh, wow.
Um, but yeah, so money's money. You gotta take it as an
Money's
actor. You
money.
gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's Bond. Final statement on Bond is a 7.3 for the Play Pause
Yeah.
media review. And let us know what you think. Either the comments here or comments on our social media somewhere.
Yep.
If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you thought it was too long, you thought it was too short, you thought it was too sappy, too sissy. I don't know. Whatever you want. I don't know
I
what
liked
people
it. I
say
I wanna
anymore.
hear what people have to say, so I feel, you have to go out there, you need to see the latest Bond.
Yeah.
It's the final one of Daniel Craig, so he in my
Hmm.
opinion, he's the best Bond that I've ever seen portray Bond. That's just
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I really think he was
Yeah.
a very strong Bond. Um, Alex?
No. Just no. He was good, but I mean, like there was a he was an action star Bond. Like that was what
Mhm.
he was.
Mhm.
He could do a lot of running. That's really what it was. Like that's to me at least. I don't know. Pierce Brosnan is still being my Bond because that's the one I grew up on. But
Yeah.
and I felt like he stuck with a lot more of the character charm of Bond. Like he was more of a
Yeah.
character.
He was less gritty, he was more the suave, like
Yeah, he was what
yeah.
he was that kind of Bond. Well,
Mhm.
this Bond was more of a emotional Bond. He was so emotionally tied to what was going on.
Yep.
And I mean, they did write it more about his life in these ones, which made more sense. He wasn't just saving the world from another thing. Everything was always against Bond in all the other films as well. Like the
Yep.
reasons they were happening was because of the enemies Bond
Yep.
had.
Yep.
Um, but like this one felt so they weren't going against MI6 or MI5, whatever it's called, or the that organization. They were
Yep.
going against him specifically,
Yep.
which we find out later was Spectre setting everything up, right? So
Mhm.
for that purpose. But yeah, so I don't know. Everyone has their opinions about Bond. Where are they going to go next? Who knows?
Yeah, tell us what
Who
your favorite Bond
knows?
was. I'm sure everybody has their Bond, the Bond they grew up with. I didn't really get into Bond super crazy. Like, yeah, I played GoldenEye 007 on
Mhm, mhm.
N64. Who didn't from our generation? But like, I didn't care about Bond until I saw Casino Royale. That was like when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm into this. The '90s Bonds, the Pierce Brosnan era. Although we grew up alongside it, I remember seeing the trailers as they came out. I just like had very low interest in them at that time. So that's
Yeah.
me.
Well, I mean, okay. To be fair, I only really like Goldeneye, but I also just like Pierce Brosnan as a Bond. So,
Yeah.
but either way,
What
yeah,
actually before we move on, where do you see Daniel Craig going next? What do you see him doing next? I had a thought during the theater, during the movie last night in the theater, but I'd love to hear what your opinion is. What's next for Daniel Craig in his career? We saw what happened with Pierce Brosnan. He went off and sang in things like Mamma Mia, and that was bad.
yeah. Well, he's done a lot of indie stuff, right? And
Mhm.
I think it'll be the same for Daniel Craig. Like, it's hard to pull. Like, yes, he's got that Knives Out 2 coming out next year,
Yep.
but I feel like it's going to be hard for him to get out of the action um, genre if that's what he wants. He's done some
Mhm.
dramedy here and there, and some drama and some comedy, but it's hard to say because like most of his last 15 years have been Bond, right? So like,
Yep.
I mean, I know Knives Out 3 has been announced as a third thing coming as well, so
Mhm.
he'll have that. Um, it's hard to say. There's
Assuming something doesn't happen with his character in Knives Out too.
I well, yeah, I just saw that Knives Out 3's been announced, so I would
Yeah,
assume
yeah, yeah.
they're trying to do the whole, um, what's the one director's name? Um, what is his name? Hold on, it's coming to me. Uh, Perso. Um, De- Detective
Clouseau?
Perot, Hercules Perot. Anyways, the one who did the character from the Murders on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, and all those stuff. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure it's Hercules Perot. It's I don't know something French. Um, but it'll be something similar to that, where that's where Knives Out's gonna go. I
Yeah.
think that's what they're trying to do. And
Mhm.
speaking of that character, Hercules Poirot, whatever his name is, I'll never know. Death on the Nile is the next movie coming out in that series too, and I think that comes out this year
Death
or
on the
next.
Nile.
Um, which is actually the prequel, supposed to be the prequel to Border on the Express in the book version,
Oh, that's Gal
but
Gadot's new movie, right?
um,
Kenneth
and
Branagh.
then Kenneth Branagh would be the star, I would say, not Gal Gadot, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. But in this movie universe, I guess they're gonna go with the Murder on the Orient Express is the original is the first, and then Death
Mhm.
on the Nile is the sequel. Um,
Okay.
the way that Murder on the Orient Express ended, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's where I see Daniel Craig going. I don't think he'll still try to. I know his um call it his wife. I forget who his wife is, but she's very famous as well. Um, and she's very popular. But I just don't remember her name. I'm not good with names.
He
If you're
is
just joining
married
us,
to Rachel Weisz.
yeah,
Weisz.
it's Rachel
Yeah.
Rice.
Yeah.
She's very popular in movies.
Well, she was just in Black Widow.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
been in the Mummy movies. Yeah.
So you know, very busy family.
Mhm.
Very busy family. I think she has an Oscar. I don't know actually. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Doesn't
It's
matter.
interesting. The same year they got married, they started a movie called Dream House.
Gross. Um,
I was thinking it'd be fun, and I think that this is just a fun idea for Daniel Craig. But to go from taking over the mantle as Bond to taking over the mantle as Doctor Who, and just seeing if he could put on a goofy character like that, I thought that might be a fun segue for his career to go.
what did he do? He did a movie that I thought was so stupid so I don't think he could ever do a comedy movie. What was it?
Oh no,
Lucky
was it the
Logan.
one with Adam Driver?
Lucky Logan. Yeah, I thought that movie
Yeah, yeah,
was
Adam Driver and what's his name?
Channing
Channing Tatum.
Tatum.
I
Yeah, I
thought
thought
it
the
was a
movie was
funny movie. I got a good chuckle out of it.
yeah, but you
And he put on
want
a
to
weird
have
American accent that was terrible, but it was really funny. I don't know.
yeah, but you want to have relations with Adam Driver, so there's different.
I want to have relations with Adam Driver. my fiance wants to have relations with Adam Driver. That's true.
Which
I can tell
inherently
you that.
means you would too. So
Oh.
don't. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying
I will
it
say I watched that
skews it
movie.
skews your vision.
I watched that movie while I was on a work trip, so I was by myself in a hotel after a long day of traveling and work. So I will give you this much: it was probably not as good as I'm recalling it. I'll say that much. Logan Lucky. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was an interesting one. All right, let's move on. As everybody I'm sure is also waiting to hear, what were our thoughts on the end of Ted Lasso season 2?
Yes, that happened.
Yes. Yes. Right. Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Did Ted finally have a glass of tea or a cup of tea and thought
no.
it was good? Only one way to find out. Actually, my favorite moment of season 2 was probably when the psychotherapist turns around to him and says, "Oh, tea's shite." I was just like,
Yeah,
they're made for each other. They're literally like made for each other. These two characters.
yeah, yeah. It was an interesting story from the get go, and like I mean, like I
Mhm.
said, it was a very predictable. Whole
Yep.
show is very predictable in a sense, most
Mhm.
parts. Um, one or two things are we just
You're never gonna catch
obviously
everything. Yeah, yeah.
no, but like we could tell like from the funeral episode that obviously Nathan and um I know her real name. I don't know the character's name. Oh my gosh.
Healy,
No, the other one.
uh, like the big boss.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of her
I
character
remember
name right
her
here?
real name's Hannah. Anyways, um, so her character, her ex-husband, and Nathan were gonna do something was gonna happen, and then at the
Mm-hmm.
very beginning of the episode, I missed it, but somebody when I was watching was, we were watching it at work because it was lunchtime, um, and my friend mentioned that he's gonna, what the ex is gonna buy West Ham. Spoiler
Rebecca.
alert
There we go.
if you haven't watched it yet, which is a shame on you, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, just shame our listeners.
Shame,
Um,
shame.
yeah, she played that character um, in Game of Thrones. She was the shame lady. If you didn't know that, but yeah. So you could tell when West Ham got said, "Oh, it's up for sale" or whatever, and it kind of
Yeah.
clicked in that he was going to buy that, and then Nathan was going to end up coaching there. That kind of you could foresee that happening throughout the episode
Mm-hmm.
right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was a nice little, moment. Not nice. It was obviously very aggressively angry, but it was a
Yep.
nice story built line when the two with Ted and
Mhm.
Nathan. It was
Well,
a
yeah,
good
like
build.
you never really like yes, throughout the whole season you see like Nate's resentment and like for everybody for how his life has gone, how people treat him, all these things. And you start to but like there's moments where you're like really empathetic with him and then there's moments where you're like I think you're misplacing your anger or your emotions because it seems like you're putting a lot of stock into some spots where maybe like it's not deserved. And like, how did you feel about his blow up on Ted and like specifically what he said and how Ted responded?
I mean, it felt. I mean, it was obviously not. I mean, it is and it isn't justified. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, as from a point of view, from an outside point of view. I mean, I'm very similar to that. I would build things up and then it explode. Obviously, that's just who we are. Some people are, right? And then,
Yeah.
but you can't get mad if you don't bring it up when it happens or says something. And I mean, yeah, Ted is a character that was hard to bring that stuff up with. I understand that,
Yeah.
especially if he's just in and out and always overly positive about stuff and doesn't really want to talk about it. But
Hmm.
then there's Nathan who's just closes up and hides. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was gonna happen, and like it is what he said made sense, and it doesn't make sense because you didn't. We never saw him really try or harder than that. But that was
Yeah.
also just the way the show was written. You know what I mean? Like the pictures he talked about. I have no idea what the hell he was talking
Hmm.
about. Um, unless I missed something, I don't remember that. But Like the pictures at Christmas, you don't have any of that up. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're
Yeah.
talking about. As a viewer, so I was
Well,
like,
so there was
okay,
a Christmas episode, right? And the only
yeah,
moment that
yeah,
you
yeah,
saw Ted with everybody else was at the very end of the episode when him and Rebecca show up to do caroling,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember that. So like, those are
Yeah.
kind of just. It's hard to relate to him, and I think that was a written point
Yeah.
choice, is so you don't side with Nathan, right? You want to.
Right.
That's why
Right.
you
It
see the
helps
progression of
villainize
him
him a little bit. Yeah.
throughout the whole season. Why his hair is getting grayer, and he's getting his demeanor is
Mm.
getting a lot more aggressive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean, I think it's also up to Beard not to have stepped in and said anything more. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or said something to Ted.
To be fair though, I think it kind of caught everyone off guard more than they like. I think everybody like saw signs of stuff coming. You saw multiple times where there was looks at Nate like, dude, like chill out. And then Beard steps up a little bit here and there. And I think like genuinely, I think Beard thought like they were handling it well. And I don't think anybody could have foreseen like within the coaching staff just how like far and deep things were going with Nate, because you see things with his parents that he never reveals to anybody else within that room, right?
Mhm.
And so I think his lack of real communication with the team, ultimately, he was just bottling things up, and like then it came out and it exploded finally, right? And he made his points at the end, and it was shocking his viewpoint, how much he thought that, Ted and the rest of the staff were setting him up to fail, right? They were
Yeah.
like teeing him up to take the fall for things. So like he never gets credit when, his master plan and strategy goes well,
I don't think that's
but they'll
necessarily true
definitely
because it
shit on
did.
him when I'm saying I know that it did, but in his head, he
Yeah,
doesn't
no, I
think
get
he
it.
thought
I
that
get that.
Ted
He
got
was
all the
only
credit for his work, and then the
yeah.
moment that something goes wrong, he'll be the one on the chopping block, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's why he goes to take off.
like we said, like last week or the week before, like he just clearly didn't understand the hierarchy of management in general.
Well, yeah, you
Um,
see everybody else in the room like that's the job. Like
yeah,
he's the coach,
yeah.
the
And
head
like when he
coach.
says like I was born for this, and he's just whatnot. But I
Yep.
was like, then you should understand the system, right? Like,
Yeah.
but we will see where it goes. It's clearly
Mhm.
like that was, Nate was a character that was always going to end up being this dark character in general, and they need a dark
Which is so sad
villain.
because you're right,
You know
but
what I
it's so
mean?
sad because like the first season, you're just like, oh, Nate, like, oh, this is great. Look at the stuff that's happening for you. This is awesome.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then season two, for that to go from oh, Nate to Nate, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah,
I don't want you to like why are you going this path? I
yeah.
don't
They
want to see
needed
that.
they
Now
needed
now I just don't
another
like
guy
him.
because like before they had Jamie, right? They had Jamie Tart,
Yep.
and then now we have Nate next season. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's gonna be Sam. Maybe we're all gonna hate Sam next season. Who knows? You know,
Who knows? Maybe it's Keely.
it
Maybe
could be
she goes
Keely,
and
but
maybe
I don't
she
think
backs off on her promise to Rebecca, and she does go and do marketing for West Ham.
she could. Yeah, she could. I don't think she will, but she could. Um, and I was thinking of the show the whole time, like, man, that guy must be really rich because if he bought West Ham United, that's not a cheap team. That's for damn
Hmm.
sure. Because West Ham is one of the big names in football over there. So wrestling, soccer, same
I
thing.
love hearing the order in which the sports comes out of your mouth, because it just tells you like what Alex's priority list of sports are.
I only watch one, so um, but yeah, so Ted Lasso, we'll see what happens next season. It'll be a year or so probably before we get it.
Yep.
Um, I know they're writing it right now, so we shall see.
Hmm.
So what did you what do we I don't want to rate this season because I already know
Yeah.
you're gonna give it a
What?
fucking 9 or something stupid. So um we'll just say it was a good season.
Yeah, it was a
Give it a
good
watch.
season.
Like I said,
Yeah.
like at the beginning of the season was a rough start for me. It just felt
Mm.
like it was the same show as before. It didn't grow. It didn't, and it still really didn't. Like it was still very much the same. We saw some characters grow,
Mhm.
but the namesake character would pretty much stay the same. We learned a little bit more about him. I felt this season was very circled around the other characters, anyways.
Mm.
You got to drive
Yeah,
it off
there's a
a
lot
little bit.
more time spent on the other characters. That's for
Like if you
sure.
look at the
Yeah.
Christmas episode, like he's barely in it.
Yeah.
And everything that happens, he doesn't really. He's just there for it to happen. Like
Yep.
the whole Christmas episode with the captain and
Yep.
Roy, like he's just there. And
Yep.
then the whole Rebecca thing, Rebecca kind of just grabs him because he knows he's alone. So,
Yep.
which
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
curious if we're gonna like how long it's gonna be until like Ted goes back to the States and visits his son. You know what I mean? Like I'm wondering like what's it gonna take for that to happen or for his son to come to him? Like that's obviously
Mhm.
got to happen at some point.
Well, the son was there
Um,
first season, right? That was how the whole divorce happened in the end, right? Um,
right, right, right,
so,
right. Yes.
so we'll see. We'll see what happens,
Hmm.
and it is what it is.
So it's interesting because you mentioned a lot throughout this season that you felt like it was more of the same. There wasn't a lot of character development really happening. I've had a few conversations with people that only recently got into Ted Lasso, and it's a bit counter to your feeling on it, where they felt the first season was kind of like, yeah, the character's fun and whatnot, but there's not like much substance to the characters here because there's not much happening. And then they actually got hooked in this season because there was a lot more happening in their
Mhm,
opinion. And I
mhm,
found that really, really fascinating because like we both loved the first season. Like I think both of us like genuinely by the end of the first season, we're like, this is awesome. And I think because of that, maybe we were hoping for season two to really take it up a notch. Whereas
mhm.
for these other people, where they were like, well, the first season kind of played it safe. Second season started to take more chances with the different characters. And I think, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, different people, different opinions, like I found that really fascinating seeing that perspective of the show.
Like I could see that a little bit. I mean, I guess if you're watching the whole show from season one, episode one to season two, episode 10 or 12, whatever it was,
Yep.
I can kind of see that a little bit. Because you're watching it full progression. You're not watching it. You
Mhm.
don't have that break. You don't have that. You haven't gained the character stress and taken a break from it to come back to it and
Yep.
really feel like it's gone nowhere. But I felt like I see what they're saying. I can see what they're saying a little bit, but
Yeah.
I felt like the same story arc of character building was still in the first one. That's still in the second one because you have to look
Mhm.
at like the build from where Jamie Tart started to being the aggressive to being not on the team anymore.
Yes.
And then you got Roy from being a shitty captain to quitting the team in a
Yeah.
sense. You know what I mean? Not a shitty
Yep.
captain,
Well,
being the
retiring.
good captain to
Yes.
being retired for learning that he
Yep.
can't do that he had to step down. Stuff like
Yep.
that. We
Yep.
saw a lot more with Coach, in this season. This whole Jane thing still pisses me off, but um, like it's just such a stupid story,
Well, I thought
I
after like
think.
like Beard's episode, I thought that that was kind of the end of like that drama with him and Jane, and then they brought it back in this last episode. And I was like,
Yeah.
"What? Really?" Like,
Yeah, I'm done with that storyline. I mean Beard needs to have a little bit more than just that, but I feel like
mhm.
we're not meant to know much about Beard and we're not supposed to. That's
He's
what makes
supposed
his
to, yeah. He
character.
he kind of is that mysterious figure that, and
Yeah.
that's what makes him fun is that he gets to have the quips and he gets to have the "I got your back" type of
He's like
situations.
you, it's like you and me, literally. It's
Hmm.
me quiet and uh, you know, randomness, and then your just overly positiveness to my sure. Does
Uh-huh.
that mean yes? Yeah, and I would just shake my head yes too. Just the silent agreements of don't
When
do it.
people don't understand what's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. That's that. That's Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso
Yeah,
season three will probably be next summer. Maybe depends. Who knows?
hopefully.
Who
I'd like
knows?
it to be back next summer. That'd be nice.
If they want to be in the Emmy category again, then they probably will be. Um,
Mhm.
so because this season will be in the next one, obviously,
Yep.
and this one will be in the Golden Globes of next year. Well, actually, there's no Golden Globes next year, so I don't know. That's gonna be fun. Makes everyone's
Mhm.
egots irrelevant anymore.
Yep.
Do those awards mean anything anymore? Who knows? Who knows? So all the people who won Golden Globes, do they just throw them out?
Are they just invalid now?
I know. I feel like I was it Johnny Depp or Tom Cruise. One of them sent them back
Hmm.
all of his Golden Globes back.
I
I
think
can't remember.
it
I think it was
was.
Tom Cruise. I think it was Tom Cruise, but I could be
Oh, I
wrong.
thought it was Leonardo DiCaprio, but I don't know.
No, He never really won many. I
He
think he's
didn't
only won
win
he only won like one or
the
two.
Oscars. That was his big struggle.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, even the Golden Globe, he never really won that. He only won it the last once or twice, I think. But
oh, it was
doesn't
Tom
matter.
Cruise. You're correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He sent
But
back his 3 Golden Globe statuettes he won over his career to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
yeah, that sounds like him. Little, that little rat. No, I'm just kidding. That's a good thing.
Ouch.
Let's see how many Golden Globes, Academy Awards, Primetime Emmys. He's never won a Primetime Emmy. Suck at Leonardo DiCaprio. What are the Golden Globes actually called? It's like Foreign Press, right? Foreign Press.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
Hollywood Foreign Press. Yeah.
Hollywood Foreign Press. Let's find those. Let's find how much Leonardo. There we go. So he won 3. He won it for best performance in The Revenant. The best. So this is what I don't get. So comedy or musical is the same fucking category. It doesn't matter. But he won that for Wolf of Wall Street, which was a comedy / musical. So,
Yep.
Cool. And then he won best performer in Avatar, in the Aviator, not Avatar. He wasn't in that.
I was like, what? When was DiCaprio in Avatar?
And he won for the Aviator, and then was nominated a whole bunch of other times for other things, obviously.
I can see why he would have been for the Aviator. Like I only watched that in like the last year and a half, and like I learned so much about that character that I just had no idea before. I did a bunch of reading up on him. I think we talked about it actually on one of our podcasts that week when I did watch it.
He was nominated
Howard
for
Hughes. Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Lost.
Mhm.
Well, then he was nominated
Yeah,
for
I
an
didn't
Oscar.
care much for
And
his character
lost.
in that. Yeah.
And then, but he won for Revenant. That was his first
Mhm.
Oscar win.
I still need to watch that movie.
Yeah, I haven't
I've
watched
said
it
for the
either.
past couple like crazy winters, I was like, there's gonna be like a really wintry day, and that's the day. I'm just gonna like hole up, put it on, watch all 3 hours of it, and figure out what this
Thing is,
whole
I
movie's
think
all
everyone
about.
keeps saying he keeps getting robbed at the Oscars, but he's only been nominated 6 times. So
Was he nominated for Blood Diamond?
yes.
Okay, that was one where I do think like that character that he portrayed was like I thought that was just an awesome performance. And I thought that was a terrific movie. That was actually what brought me back to Leo as like this guy's like got some acting chops. Like I had kind of written him off for several years there. Where I just didn't care for his movies or who he was as an actor, but I've since come to appreciate his talent. But I do think like there's moments like again, once upon a time in Hollywood, I just like Brad Pitt's character was fantastic. I think Brad Pitt did a fantastic job with that character. Leo's character, I was a little, you're fine. You know,
I feel like
that
Brad
almost
Pitt just
seemed like
played himself, and it worked out for him.
hey, if that's what it takes, I thought it was good.
Yeah. I feel Brad Pitt plays himself a lot, but hey, whatever works. I don't know Brad Pitt, so I could be completely wrong. Fuck, I don't know. Hey, he's got the Oscar and I don't, so
Yep,
he knows
yep,
what he's doing.
yep.
What else we got going on? We got Only in the Murders this week that came out. Only Murders in the Building. Did you watch it this week? I'll take that silence as a no.
Nope,
Guy, this
I
was
did
like
not.
the biggest point. Oh my gosh. Why do I even talk about it on the show?
How far are they into it now? Like, how many episodes are there left?
So next week will be the season finale.
All right, so I have a week to catch up. There we go.
Yeah, you have it like depending on what episode you're on, you have like 6 to depending on how many, like there's 10 episodes. So
I'm pretty sure I watched the first 3 episodes in like one sitting, so
you have 7 episodes to watch. Well, 6
All right.
then next week's. And they go fast, so I'll give you that. But they're only like half an hour. But you should have been caught up already. This episode, the ending of this episode is a wild like change. Not really. Kind of expected it in the last episode, but which makes it, but it still has a lot of questions. You're like, how did this happen? If it was this thing, but if it was that thing, or this person, or that person, but how could this happen if that was that? There's so many questions. Um, and there's a lot of swearing in this episode. So,
Hmm.
story of my life, you know,
Mm-hmm.
lots to happen, lots to go. They got green light for a second season, so who knows what's gonna happen next? Maybe somebody else dies. It's gonna be a whole thing. Hopefully,
Someone
it's Steve
else.
Martin.
Oh boy.
But
Ouch.
just kidding. Survivor last week was was a great episode. Won't go into detail about it, but it was good. Well played by everyone.
Yep.
Um, threw me down to like second, third place, so that pissed me off in my league.
Uh-oh.
Because so like there's an advantage of it. There was an advantage situation, and one
Yep.
from each tribe member. There's 3 tribes, and one each went to this advantage island thing.
Yeah.
And so one of the players in our league, Megan, she had all 3 of her members, because we all only have 3. All 3 of her members went onto this advantage island, so she got mega points just from that. Because you get like 10 points from just going to the
You
island
got
for each
Megan
person.
points.
Oh wow! And then you
Hey,
get
if you're watching, you're welcome.
like 10 points to just get the advantage, which I think 2 of them did. No, one of them did, and then one to use the advantage, one to she was just racking up points, and I was like, God damn it, she wins every fucking year. But I'm not better.
Not at all. No.
And she's won once, I think, and then I think Ronnie won the other one. So, oh no, yeah, I think I don't remember. I just know I didn't. So, anyways,
You guys
same
have
with the
any
match.
like trophy or some like thing that the victor takes for bragging rights?
Yeah, money.
Ooh, money's nice.
Yeah. That's why I said you should have joined. You could have won $80, but you didn't want to. So that's on you.
I don't watch reality TV,
You don't
man.
have
It's
to
it's
watch
not
it.
my
Like
thing.
you
It's
just
not
had
my
to watch the points grow or fail on your own point. That's what I tell people. You don't have to watch it. You just got to win money. That's what
Mhm.
addiction problems have. But anyways, yeah. So that's kind of what's going on. Big news down in the TV world, which a lot of people are asking either are you really happy about or really questioning why the heck it's happening. Is that there's a 70s show spinoff happening called That 90s Show on Netflix, coming to Netflix. Deborah Jo Rupp and Kurtwood Smith are returning as Kitty and Red Foreman.
That's interesting.
How much they're going to be in the show, I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
like I feel like this show should have happened following the end of That 70s Show. You know what I mean?
They
Like,
did an 80s show with none of the other characters,
yeah,
and that failed apart. I don't remember watching it, but I
yeah.
remember it sucking. So
I just like, yeah, it's one of those things. So like, let's talk about like remakes for a second, because there's a lot of remakes happening. There's a Home Alone remake happening.
yeah, which apparently is just a shot for the original trailer.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, like apparently it's very, very closely resembling. There's another remake that, and I'm having a hard time remembering now, Alex. But we were talking about another remake that I made a comment on. It may come back to me, but yeah, I just think like there's these shows where sometimes it's just leave it as is. You know what I mean? Like there's good content here, and I understand. Yes, some people want to come and make that 90s show, and we'll see what it's like. We were 90s kids, you know.
Yep.
We grew up in the
Yep.
90s. We were born in the 80s. We grew up in the 90s, and
we are the
I
last.
don't know, like,
well, I guess the last of millennials are technically people born in '95. I guess I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
They don't count.
But anyways, we're millennials. You know.
Yeah.
We're the classic millennials. I guess I don't know
What is a millennial anyway? I don't claim to know or care.
Yeah. Well, it's somebody born. I think the age group is 86 to 95. And I think the requirement was, I think, somebody who was born, who lived with and without the internet, like from start to beginning, like.
Yep.
And
like we lived through the birth of.
Basically we lived the birth of the internet, basically.
Yeah.
But we lived through all the technology growths from that there. And then there's the whole um, just the mindset, I guess, of our generation.
Well, it's just been
Because
such a big part of our lives, right? Like
yeah,
we helped build and define it through our usage of it,
mhm.
for better or worse.
Yeah. Well, there's also the boomers, and then there's which would be considered our parents. No, the older our grandparents, I guess. And then there's
Yep.
the Gen. I don't know what they're called. And then there's us,
Yep.
and then there's Gen Z. So I guess we're Gen X, and then there's Gen Y, and then I don't fucking know. It's so crazy.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, it
what are
looks
they
like
gonna
we got
call
a
the
couple of
people?
people chatting in our comments. So there are people listening, Alex.
Hey,
Hello.
what do they say? We got anything cool? It doesn't matter.
We got a big
Just
hi.
kidding. It matters. It matters. It matters. I'm just a piece of shit. You know that. Um, anyways, so yeah, so we're millennials. There's actually like I don't know them personally. Um, they're just a fellow podcast from the city of Kitchener Waterloo, and they're called Turn of the Millennials.
Mhm.
And they're uh two young women who talk about being millennials and their lives, and then they go on about stuff. One of their episodes they had Ed the Sock on from Much Music.
That's really cool.
So I checked them out. I think I'm pretty sure it's called Turn of the Millennials. So if you go there and you listen to them, tell them you came from us, and you know build our own brand. We'll take their use and drop. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I've listened to a couple of other episodes, and they're good at what they do. Some would say they're better than us, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I definitely say they're better than us. But we're different. Totally different podcast. Anyways, moving on. What else we got going on, Matt?
Yeah.
Let's.
I mean, there's a couple things. I broke my iPhone. That was sad.
Yeah, loser. She got a
Yeah,
tech. She got like the same case that I have. The text, whatever. I don't even remember
you
the
know,
code from. You're so good. I
I
don't even
decided to
need to know
go.
the name.
So the iPhone 13 got announced, and I was like, not that like blown away by it. And I was like, yeah, I've had this phone for like 4 years now. Longest I've had any iPhone at this point. And a few months ago, I took the case off, and I was like, I'm just gonna go caseless. I'm tired of my case. It was falling apart. It's actually like it's not that hard to find cases for older iPhones, but like they're not in stores anymore. You can't just walk into like a Walmart, a Best Buy, an Apple store and buy a case for your iPhone 10.
Can't
Like
really walk
they
into
very
stores these days
quickly.
much anymore. Boom, zing, song, win. I win.
Yeah.
Just
But
kidding.
I took the case off, and I actually just really like the look and the feel of my phone cases. Like I think it's a very attractive phone. Um, but sitting in the theater, and particularly with these shorts, which my phone has fallen out of these shorts before, usually in a car where things are like padded and soft and it's fine. But I had a repeat moment of something that I saw you do, like I think you said, what was it, 8 years ago? The
Oh
phone
yeah.
slipped out
When I used
under
to
the
drink,
seat on
I
the
don't do that
concrete.
anymore.
On the concrete in the theater. And
Yeah.
I didn't know until I got home and I saw it in the light. I was like, oh my God, my phone's cracked. And it's the first iPhone I've cracked since my first iPhone 3G in 2008. Like it's been 13 years since I've broken a phone.
Well,
And I'm
Lottie
like,
freaking da, man.
I'm very distraught. I'm very
Should have bought
distraught.
a
I fixed
case,
the
man. Then it could
issue.
have been 14 years, 15 years. But no, you decided not to. And I'm just saying, Tech 21,
So
I've had my phone on my case on my phone since I've got
yep.
it.
Yep.
And I have not cracked it.
Yep. Well,
So
I will be learning my lesson. I'm gonna get okay. The worst part about this is
the worth.
less than a week ago, Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
my partner, my fiance, broke her screen. Because she decided shortly after I took my case off that she would do the same. And
You're a
I've seen her
horrible
drop her
influence.
phone. I've seen her drop her phone multiple times, and I've made a comment to her
Why
almost
would
every time, like, "Did you just take your case off to give you an excuse to upgrade?" She's like, "No, no, no. Like, I actually want to like trade in my phone, and if I break it, I won't get any trade in value." I'm like, "Sure, sure," and like giving her a hard time. Sure enough, it breaks like a week ago, and we're like, "Oh, that sucks." Like, and so she went and got an iPhone 13, and yeah, so here I am a week later, eating my words real hard.
Yeah. Way to go, Matt.
Yeah, so now I'm looking at
Way too
trying to get a
good.
13 Pro, which is really hard. I was actually able to find a couple in the last day or two, or I guess in the last 24 hours since my phone broke.
You're not even gonna go
Um,
for the max. You're just going pro.
I
No.
don't want the big phone. It's too big. I've had one plus sized iPhone. I got rid of it less than a year after buying it because I didn't like the size. But I'm gonna try and find the Pro. I found one in stock. It was a 1 terabyte model, which I don't want. It's just too expensive, and I don't need that much storage. So trying to find a 256 gig iPhone 13 Pro. That is what I'm going to try and find, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. If I order it today, I could have it mid-November, but you know me, I want to try and get it same day if I can. So I'm going to keep looking every
Yeah.
day.
Well, I was looking at watches. iWatches. They're not called iWatches. They're not called Apple Watches. Um, I was looking at one of them, and I wanted the 45 because I have fat wrists. Um, and I just like the bigger size. It's just
Hmm.
who I am. It is what it is.
Yep.
And you can't get those until like November, so there's no point. Also, it's like $1,000, so it's a goddamn watch. Um, so that's probably not what I'm gonna get.
Hmm.
But yeah, so technology day, so expensive, but so needed, and you need to put
Yep.
cases on it. So should have always have a case on your phone. You should buy them from Tech 21. Good deals, good deals. And to
Yep.
protect your phone. I drop my phone every day, like legit every day, mostly on the carpet, so it's not too bad. But even at work, I drop it. Never broke it, and I have the same
Yep.
phone you do. So it
Yep.
says something. What does
Oh
it
yeah, no, I
say?
I probably just should have kept my case on or bought a new case when I was tired of my old case. So yeah, I'll be upgrading soon. But that's my fun sad news. In other Apple news though, next week we're gonna be getting a Apple Unleashed event on the 18th, and it's gonna be finally them talking about the Macs for what feels like the first time this year. I think we're gonna finally see the upgraded Mac models. So we saw Apple Silicon, the M1 processor come out for the iMac, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, and the Mac Mini so far, all on the lower tier. Intel is still powering all of the higher tier Macs currently. It is very likely the high expectation is after this event, we're going to have the nail will be in the coffin for Intel. There will no longer be any Intel based Macs for sale. Everything's going to switch over to this. Either it's we're getting like the last rumors I read was like M1X could be M2. We'll see. I'm just waiting for Apple to figure out multi-monitor support on their chipsets, right? Like, you're using an M1 right now. You can plug in a external monitor. That's it. You're limited to one, and you only have the two USB-C ports. So they need to figure that stuff out. So my guess is that they're going to figure that stuff out, and they're really just going to be like again, blowing everybody away with having the best hardware in a laptop. Like already the one you're using is incredible. And so if they can
Yeah.
figure out just a couple of those little limitations, it's going to be
If I used
amazing.
it more than just this podcast, then that'd be great. Um, one day, one day,
Hmm.
one day, when this pandemic has come to a close.
You'll go to a park and watch a movie.
No, no. Outside's still not my thing. One day, one day. But
Hmm.
yeah, so yeah, we'll see what happens with Apple. I'm sure we'll cover that in 2 weeks. No, next week. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's try
we'll cover it
it.
next week for sure. Yep.
What else we got going on? I mean, if you're a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm,
it got leaked and then confirmed by James something.
gun.
James Gunn, that's the one. Names, man, I'm bad with them. Um, that Adam Warlock has officially been announced
Hmm.
and casted for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They've teased it multiple times in Guardians of the Galaxy and some other movies that Adam Warlock's coming, who's one of the most powerful villains who eventually becomes an Avenger and sometimes in the comic books, but it's a whole thing. But it will be played by Will Poulter. Poulter? 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 I don't know. You would know Will Poulter from if you watched We Are the Millers.
Yep.
He plays the
Bandersnatch on Netflix.
Bandersnatch. Yeah, his
Yep.
big breakout role, his first role, I guess, it is that he's credited is Son of Rambo. That was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Um,
He was in one of the Narnia films.
Yeah. Yeah.
when he was younger. I'm trying to remember. Oh, he was in one of the later Maze. He was in the Maze Runner series.
Yeah, he was in the Maze Runner.
Um,
All of them, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, he's been in
Um,
all three. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not huge on him personally. I think he's
He's
like,
gonna have to build himself up because Warlock's supposed to be like the perfect
yeah.
specimen.
I mean, like, to be
I
fair,
don't
like
know what
Bandersnatch.
defines a perfect specimen anymore. Who knows? But
He was fine in Bandersnatch. Like, I think that was probably the one of the first times I've seen him where I'm like, oh, like you have a bit like more range than just this like whiny kid.
yeah,
But yeah, I saw that announcement and immediately like I was just like not excited at all. But yeah, hey, we'll see. He's growing up. He's getting older as an actor, and who knows? Maybe he can start showing some of that depth that
yeah,
apparently James Gunn sees in him. So
that's true. Well, I don't know if he had the choice to pick that who that was, but you never know. James
mhm.
Gunn gets to ever do whatever he wants these days, anyways. So whatever. Um, we got Matrix. So funny story out of from Venom, Let There Be Carnage, which is a horrible movie. Anyways, um, there is a scene where they're on like this top of this tower or church thing, and they're getting chased like by the cops and stuff, as you do. Um, and there's these helicopters searching the city and stuff. Apparently, those helicopters are real. It wasn't a green screen thing for the most part, and they were actually shooting Matrix Four. Those helicopters are actually from Matrix Four. So that they shot Venom Let There Be Carnage from the same place they were shooting Matrix 4 at the
That's
same
really
time.
funny.
They had to cut out apparently a lot of chase scenes with Venom because Matrix had most of the roads all cut
Hmm.
bought up for their movie. So that's kind of funny that that made it in there,
That is
and
funny. That's like so shocking. Like, yeah, like you
it
have to
worked for the
recognize
movie because
that.
the scene that it is
Yeah.
they're being chased by the cops and they're looking for
So
them.
having
So
helicopters was helpful. Yeah, I'm just so shocked. Like in Hollywood, like yeah, I get that there's going to be a lot of like the shooting schedules must be incredibly complex, and when you're doing these big blockbuster movies, you're going to have times where you're going to have to like figure out and coordinate around these other shooting schedules. But I'm just shocked that this kind of stuff like happens period in like big budget movies. It's going back to the Game of Thrones episode when you've got the Starbucks cup or the bottle of water, like in Mandalorian, where you got Jeans guy who shows up in the background of the episode, right?
yeah,
It's just like how does this kind of thing happen with these huge budgeted films and shows?
yeah. I mean, I think that's just that was the city though. Like I think that was just the city trying to
Yeah.
um, put as
Well, I wonder if
many.
like genuinely if they realized that those like if those choppers were being used for a movie, being shot, or if they just thought it was just, LA, Hollywood
Yeah,
helicopters, you know what I
I
mean?
don't know where it was shot, but yeah, who knows? You would think that like um, they would put some that Matrix would be coming after them, but maybe they're under the same company. They're not, but like you never know.
Mhm. Yep.
But yeah, that's crazy. That was funny. I thought that was a little funny. It's an unexpected crossover they've been calling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So is that confirming that Venom and the Spider-Man universe takes place in the Matrix?
God, I hope not. Um,
The ultimate crossover.
it'd be so bad. It'd
There's
be
going to
so
be
bad.
fan fiction of this now, like somebody's going to go out there and be like, because this accidental like thing happened, somebody's going to go and like film a whole thing of like this mishmash of
Hmm.
movie universes.
Yeah, crazy.
Speaking of Venom, I was reading earlier today about him not being considered for like the Sinister Six for the MCU because of the Venom series, Andy Serkis's Venom series.
He just did the last one. I don't think he did both of them, but he just did the last one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But anyways, go on. You were saying
No, yeah. It was just a little like tidbit that I read about, saying like they just won't consider using Venom now for the Sinister Six. Just they'll
because of
have
how
somebody
bad it
else to play.
was.
I don't know.
I don't.
Probably just
I
because of the
just
character, like Tom Hardy's character, doesn't really fit with
no, because
you
he's not
know
a villain.
the rest.
But
Yeah.
I think though, because you've watched the end credit scene from Venom now, but and I still
Mhm.
don't want to spoil it for people, but the way it kind of looks, it looks like he's going to go after him, so they still could.
Mhm.
I just spoiled it right there. So if you haven't seen it, you can put two and two together. So
He's gonna go
my
after
bad.
Carnage, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because Carnage is still around at the end of this movie.
Absolutely. Of
Yeah.
course. How do you think they keep making more of them? Anyways, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see at the end of Spider-Man, I guess, if
Mhm.
Venom shows
Yep.
up part of that universe, if he is or he isn't on. And then if they want to bring back a different Rhino and all that stuff, because you can't have the
Mhm.
Sinister Six without Rhino. You just
No,
can't.
it just doesn't work without him. I'm so stoked for Into the Spider-Verse. Like, I'm so stoked.
Into the
It's not
Spider-Verse
Into the
2?
Spider-Verse. What's it called? Spider-Man
Wow.
No Way
No
Home?
Way Home.
Yeah. I got there. I got there on my own.
Did you?
I
Did you?
did. I did.
No, because Into the Spider-Verse 2 is gonna happen. So
Which will be awesome. Do you think we're gonna see that mishmash together as well? Now that they're all going between Spider-Verses?
you never know. You never know.
That'd be really funny to just see like Tom Holland as like Tom Holland walk on into this like heavily animated film.
Possible. It's very, very possible.
Mhm.
I mean, the next one's gonna deal with Spider-Man from 2099.
Yeah.
So the Mexican one. So I
Hmm.
say Mexican because he's from Mexico, so don't come at me. Or do. Let's see what happens. I don't really have anything to lose. So um yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what Doctor Strange does first. Well, no, we
Yeah.
won't. We'll see what Spider-Man does first. Holy, this is a whole thing. Spider-Man comes first, then we got Internals next month.
Mhm.
So that'll be fun. We got Dune next week. I keep thinking it was this week, but
I don't know why, like, I can like I thought Dune was coming out at the start of this month, and then I'm,
yeah,
like, pretty sure I told people that it was coming out,
yeah. Well,
and then they're
last
like,
week
"Oh,
I
why am I
said it
going
was
to see
coming out on the
Venom?" Right?
22nd, and last week I said it was coming on the 22nd, and I
Yep.
just I erased a week from my life. That's pretty much what happened. I must have because we obviously had No Time to Die. I thought No
Yep.
Time to Die came out this week because I thought it was No Time to Die
Mhm.
and then Dune.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, apparently it's
That's probably what mixed you up because we were watching No Time to Die on a Tuesday, and you're like, "Oh, that must mean that Dune's
well,
coming out
I
this
I
Thursday."
didn't realize that No Time to Die came out this last weekend. I thought it was coming out
Yeah.
this coming weekend. And then I saw somebody, a friend of mine, go see it, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" First of all, where was my invite? Second,
Ouch.
what the shit? Anyways, because this week is that new Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer,
Right. The Last Night?
and Ben
The
Affleck
Last
movie.
Duel? What's it called? The Last Duel?
The
The Last
last
Night?
duel, I think,
Yeah.
or the last night. I don't really know.
No, it's The Last Duel. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, based on a true story, apparently. So,
Interesting.
um, it's supposed to be amazing, but
Mhm.
they
Yeah,
say
it's
that
got
about any
excellent
movie.
review scores so far. Yeah.
From audiences or from the critics?
Well, Rotten Tomatoes is 88%.
From
Oh, 86%. That's weird. Audience score is not. They have nothing so
yeah,
far.
because it's not out yet. That makes sense.
Facebook's got a 3.7 out of 5, and IMDb's got a 7.4 out of 10.
So critics are gonna love it, obviously. But you got a cast like Adam Driver, Matt Damon, and
Mhm.
the future star that is Jodie. She's not a future star; she's already a big star.
Jodie
Jodie
Comer.
Who's got multiple Emmys, I'm pretty sure, and
Mhm.
Golden Globes for her hit for being on Killing Eve. And then you have Ben Affleck, and I'm pretty sure Ben Affleck is either producing it or he helped write it, one or the other, or Matt Damon. One of them helped something
They're
big
both
behind the scenes.
involved. Yeah.
Um,
No, they're both acting in it. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
and
both
Ridley
acting in
Scott
it, but I'm pretty sure
directs.
one of them was
Yeah.
either helped write it or
Hmm.
is producing it in the end.
Let's see. Stars Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer. Screenplay by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, as well as
Yes,
somebody named Nicole Holo.
yeah. See, I knew they had a big part about it, and it's directed by Ridley Scott, so it's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, what I said to you when we were watching the trailer at the movie theater is I bet you $5 that Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Jodie Comer all get nominated for this movie,
Mm.
and I will hold to that when we get back in February.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't remember that I bet you $5, but because it's a Ridley Scott film, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, it's either going to
Yeah.
be the biggest critical acclaimed film for
Mhm.
that genre, or it's going to be the garbage movie of all time.
Yep.
So, you know, so we'll find out this weekend. I might go see it sometime, or you will go see it sometime. I don't know. We'll see what's up.
We'll see
Um,
what's up. I'm wrapping up
Weekends are
my
tough, you know.
vacation, so we'll see what time I've got left. I
Yeah,
gotta watch all this Only Murders in the Building.
yeah.
So,
You do have a lot of time to catch there. Um, but funny story about when they were shooting this film. It's not a funny story. It's just a small quip. Ben
Mhm.
Affleck was on Jimmy Kimmel probably like half a year ago or a year ago, promoting something else he was doing. I don't remember.
Yep.
And it was probably the Justice League. I don't remember.
Yep.
He was at that time shooting this movie out in, or he was just coming back from it, and he's saying he was out shooting this film out in Italy or France, wherever the heck they were shooting it, and he said, I have to have this specific date off for my son's birthday.
Mm.
Like, I'm gonna fly back, go to the birthday, and come back. And they were like, okay, cool, whatever. So he bought all these presents that were supposed to fly out with him. But when he gets there, his assistant met him, and she just had like apparently like the saddest looking face on her face, and just saying the gifts didn't show up.
Oh
And
no.
he's like, "What? I can't go to my son's birthday party without the presents and all that stuff, right?" So apparently, what happened was Adam Driver, his son, is a big Star Wars fan. So Adam Driver sent him all these Star Wars toys the day of, with a signed autograph of Kylo Ren, and saying that he knows Kylo Ren, like that, but his dad knows Kylo Ren, and all
That's
that stuff.
awesome.
So
Yep.
making his dad a hero in his son's
Yep.
eyes. So,
Yep.
and you could see in the interview that how emotionally Ben Affleck is. Ben Affleck's a very
Yeah.
emotional person these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, recovering alcoholic and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so it was a nice heartfelt story, even if for people who don't care about kids like me. So yeah, so that's a fun little story for those little heart people out there that who just love Adam Driver. You can go tell that to your fiance, and she'll love it for the rest of her life. So more reason for people to stand Adam's Driver. Another story about Adam Driver.
Here we go.
I
I
know
feel like
everything.
Alex, like you know a lot more about Adam driving than you normally
I
put
know.
on.
Well, here's the thing. I just know a lot about everything, and that just makes me a better person. No, this is just because So on the last week tonight with John Oliver. So they had This is only because it was in the Emmys as well. The Emmys. Was it the Emmys? Yeah, the Emmys this last week. It was last month ago.
Last month. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so last week tonight they won, but throughout the last pandemic year, obviously he was shooting from his own house, but they'd always have a run, like they had a current thing where they would just have tried. You would just say something about Adam Driver, like sexually abusing him, like "Come on, Adam, just step on my throat and spit in my ear," kind of thing, stuff like that. Weirdest shit ever, just the
Yep.
weirdest shit ever. And it eventually kept going. It kept going. And then obviously this was all set up, but like
Sure.
he's doing a bit where he says that, and then the phone goes off, and it's Adam Driver on the other line. I'll send you a link afterwards.
Okay.
And it's pretty funny. And then Adam Driver shows up. It's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, what are you doing? What? Why? Whatever you're doing is downright fucking weird, and I hate it. And he just goes on about it. And then at the Emmys, they said another thing
That's
about
funny.
Adam Driver wanting them to. Yeah, it was just the way they did it, and Adam Driver's response was hilarious. So it just shows, Adam Driver's a fun guy. It's a fun
Yeah.
guy, not a mushroom, but a fun guy. You loved it. Shut up.
Wait for it. Wait for it. And it's deserved. It's deserved.
You just made
Alex
my
with the dad
job.
joke.
You just made my job a lot worse because now I have to take that sound clip and put it in the podcast.
No, it's there now.
No.
I
See,
made it live.
yeah, but when you download it,
Mhm.
it comes in its own file, so you have to put it in there in itself. and like sometimes it doesn't work. Well, that's at least when I was using GarageBand. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and if you screwed me on this, Matt, I swear to God, this is the first time you've had control in almost like a year. So
It's been a long time since I've had control over the hosting duties here. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Um,
I'm abusing it because it's
yeah,
the
that's
time I
fair.
have. Yep,
Yeah, you might as well. Might as well.
yep.
Yeah. So that's our Adam Driver episode. Um, yeah. As they announced today they announced today or yesterday that they're going to announce a game in December, a new Star Wars game in December. Nobody knows anything else about it.
Nice.
Nobody, but
All right.
everyone's hoping it's obviously the announcement to the sequel of the last Star Wars game that we got. But
Oh yeah,
who
yeah.
knows?
The four the
Before something Unleashed, no
Jedi. Oh my gosh, I
Jedi.
played it.
I don't. Yeah, so did
Star
I.
Wars games. Fallen Order, Jedi
Uh,
Fallen Order.
nah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
were
yeah,
busy.
yeah. I'd be stoked for a sequel to that. That was a really good game. I mean, we've got a bunch of Star Wars games coming, a couple of remakes, right? Like we've got Knights of the Old Republic coming, fully remade, and we're also getting it just like ported to the Switch, which is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So we'll see. We'll see
yeah,
who's making it. I don't remember who announced it, but
I'm gonna be
who knows?
super disappointed if it's just like Star Wars Battlefront 3.
Gosh. Well, that's the thing. Like so it's Rockstar announced that they're um redoing the major 3 games, not the major 3, not
Yes, the definitive
GTA,
collection. So
but
GTA
not
3,
GTA
Vice
4 cuz
City, and San Andreas, right?
yeah, but not GTA 4 cuz that's the one everyone fucking wants. Anyways, that's not the point. Um
But like, are they? So I didn't read into it. I just saw like their announcement trailer for it. Is it gonna be like remastered, or is it
I
just
think it's
like being
remastered. I think
released
it's
on current gen
remastered.
console?
Well, remastered for the new consoles. That's from what
Hmm.
I'm understanding. And then everyone's pissed because one, everyone just wanted 4.
Yeah,
It's either they wanted 4 or they wanted 6,
yeah,
like the announcement of GTA 6.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Rockstar didn't give them either because you can't play GTA 4 anywhere on
Hmm.
any of the new systems. Um,
I
like
think
it's
you can
not
play
going
it
to be
on
released.
Xbox. It's an Xbox 360 game, but I think you can play it on an
Yeah, but
Xbox.
like everyone's just pissed that you can't. Like
It's not native.
They
Yeah.
remade 5 3 times, but they didn't
Yes.
remake 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone 4 is like the rebirth of GTA. Like GTA 3 was cool, but when
Yeah.
GTA 4 came out, it kind of rebranded them in a big way, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, because it was so heavily storied, like it was such a big story, it was such a good game, I
Hmm.
thought. And so we'll see what happens. But Rockstar, get on your shit, figure shit out.
Yeah,
Figure it
so
out.
it's funny that you bring that up, like GTA 4 specifically. So I watch a lot of Linus Tech Tips on YouTube, and he did a whole video series recently about why like the PC is still the best game console. And his whole point was that you've got like if the whole PS4 library equaled to like 10,000 games, let's just say, I'm just throwing out numbers, I don't actually have the raw data. The PC has like a million because it goes all the way back and you can basically find any game that's ever released on a PC and play it today. And not just play it, but, and he highlighted Grand Theft Auto 4, which is why I'm bringing this up. There's mods, a lot of community mods. And what ends up happening is people who love these games are basically remastering them themselves and then making it broadly available to anybody who wants to like download the mod. So you can play GTA 4 with a really nice updated look. You can even like add some like physics stuff into it to make like the driving and whatnot even like more improved or closer to maybe what GTA 5 is like. And then like GTA 5, there's some like amazing photorealism mods where you're driving downtown in San Andreas and GTA 5, and it like looks like it like photoreal. It's really impressive what you can do. So yeah, PC gamers, they got a huge advantage when it comes to that.
Well, who cares? Um, just kidding. I don't. But yeah, I mean, good for you guys. Guess you get a computer. Good. Few PCs. Blah 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 blah. Master race bullshit myself. You know. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's my story on that. That's interesting. But we need a GTA 6, so give it
Yeah,
to us.
yeah. Well, it took
Give
them how
it
long
to
to announce Red Dead
us.
Redemption 2? Like, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
while. The factor that they're following in Todd Howard's footsteps with Skyrim, where it's just never ending how many times it's been remastered and released on a new console. And
But think
yes,
about it
there
this
is an
way:
announcement for the Elder Scrolls 6, but that was like 3 years ago. We have no new details on it. It's
Well, think about it this way
very
though.
frustrating.
GTA 5
Yep.
came out in 2013.
Yeah, Skyrim came out in 2011.
Yeah, I'm just saying, fix your shit, Rockstar.
I know. Yeah.
I don't really care about Skyrim, so there's that. But and like when Rockstar came out, 2015. Oh, not Rockstar. Red Dead, was it 2015?
Oh, it was later than that. Like Red Dead Redemption 2.
2018. 2018.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
still, that's given them 4 years to figure this shit out.
yeah,
So I know games take longer than that. Look at The Last of Us 2. That took them 10
yeah.
years. But
Well, and here's the big thing with Rockstar and some other companies. Like Rockstar got in a lot of shit when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out because there was a lot of talk and awareness about um, the grind that game developers put onto their staff to get things done, the amount of overtime expected, just the burnout that happens from developers
mhm.
to meet those lofty like deadlines. Um, And so I know there's a ton of controversy surrounding Rockstar during that time. And Rockstar is also very well known as a company that they don't announce shit until they're about to release it. Like we didn't hear
Mm.
anything about Red Dead Redemption 2 until like what,
The
a
day before
couple
when
of
they
months
changed
before it
all
came
their
out.
logos, and then the next day we
We had a
announced the game.
trailer and we had a release date, and it was like not long before the game came out. And I think they did something similar with Grand Theft Auto 5. So like, they
Yeah.
certainly like when they're ready to go, at least you're not waiting forever to play it. You know what I mean? They basically tell you, hey, it's gonna be out then. We're letting you know now. Go have fun. Right. So I do appreciate them for that.
Mhm, mhm. Um, Far Cry um, there is, speaking of, um,
Words.
that kind
Words are
of
hard.
like working environments, Ubisoft had their are having their big problems, as well as
Mm.
Activision and Blizzard.
Oh,
Um,
Blizzard's in big trouble right now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I don't see them coming good out of that unless they
Hmm.
admit to the wrongdoings, which they're never
Yep.
going to.
Mm.
Um, And then again, it was kind of the same thing happening at Ubisoft. There was just a lot of it was boys club kind of thing, and
Yep.
you know mismanagement there. Um, and right now you're seeing a lot of it in you're seeing the same issues with the film and TV academies. Like right now, there's a strike for I forget who it is necessarily, but it's
Mhm.
like all the people who work for like streaming companies and stuff like that. They're striking right now, and they've asked people to obviously cancel their subscriptions and stuff like that. So um, to show solidarity, we can't do this podcast without these subscriptions. So,
Yeah.
um, which is unfortunate, but um, I mean, I get what they're saying, and I think everyone is due for their rightful
Yeah.
amount of work. I mean, I was called a socialist the other day, and I guess I am. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with socialism. It's just has to be done right. But that's not what we're here about. Um, social capitalism is what I'm all about.
Mm.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't understand either one of them, so it doesn't really matter. Um, but speaking of Ubisoft, Far Cry 6 came out last week.
Yep.
It's getting
Yep.
good. People are loving it. A
Yeah,
lot
Far
of it.
Cry since like Far Cry 3, so 3, 4, 5, and 6 now, like they've been known because of their villains, and I think that's what they're
Yeah,
doing well. Like the character you're playing really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. All the
yeah,
emphasis has been put into their um into the antagonists, and like it's worked out really well since they figured out that formula.
yeah. I played Far Cry 3 and 5. I didn't play
Mm.
4, and then I didn't play the one between 5 and 6.
Oh yeah, it was like Primal or
Yeah, I didn't play
what was it
that one.
called?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Um,
Far Cry Primal.
New Dawn. New Dawn? Oh, Primal was the game. New Dawn, I think, was a
Oh yeah, no,
sequel
there
to
is a New
that.
Dawn.
Or yeah, it's been a lot of Far Cry games. My gosh. Yeah, so I played 3 and then I
Yeah,
never finished 4, and that's kind of like as far as I've made it with the
yeah.
Far Cry
I
games.
never played 4. I think New
Hmm.
Dawn is like it's kind of it's
Oh
a
no, New
narrative
Dawn's
sequel to 5.
post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
so I don't know if you didn't play 5, did you?
No, I haven't.
So the way 5 ends, from what I'm just looking at pictures of New Dawn, and I just read the description, it
Hmm.
is a very narratively sequel to 5, and it makes sense
Right.
to what I'm seeing. And
Hmm.
so it makes you wonder where 6 comes from, and
Yeah.
so I don't really want to play New Dawn, but I will if I have to.
Yeah.
I just want to see where it comes from, or if it's a whole new story,
Right.
um, which I will look into. But yeah, it looks like it's a whole new story based in a different time, in like a different part of the world, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so we'll see what happens. It's based in it, it's supposed to take place in 2021,
Hmm.
and it's in like the Caribbean, so which the a lot in Far Cry 5 was kind of more in the States, so kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. For what happens at the end of 5 could really only affect the States, so
Hmm.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I will play it. Apparently, it's really well done. Um, uh, an old school friend of mine, um, he works for Ubisoft in Montreal. I think it's the Montreal
Oh,
one,
that's cool.
and
Yeah.
yeah, he helped with his section was the facial work. So
Mm.
he worked near and close to with all the face work and like all the motion capturing and all that stuff. So that's kind of cool. So he put up some videos of that, and it was kind of cool to watch. So
Hmm.
let us know if
Sounds
you
like
play
you'd
Far
be a
Cry
good
6.
guest
And
for this podcast sometime.
yeah, I haven't talked to him in like 10, 15 years, but hey, you
Perfect
never
timing.
know. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you want to catch up? Great. Can you join this link?
Yeah, come on, chat about it. About
Talk about your work. That's what you want to do when you're done
yeah,
a day's
exactly.
work.
Um, yeah. So yeah, that's all I got. I don't know what else you got going on, Matt. Anything else?
Yeah, like not a whole lot else. There's a new game I want to check out. Hopefully before the end of my vacation. Back for Blood. So it's the successor to the Left 4 Dead series.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to check that out. Try it out. It's a 4-player cooperative zombie killing game. So sounds like right up my alley. I'm not really into solo playing first-person shooters anymore. That's why I never finished Far Cry 6. That's why I never got around to finishing a lot
You
of
never
other
played Far
first-person
Cry 6,
shooters.
so that's fine.
I'm sorry.
You never played Far Cry 6, so that's fine.
5. I mean, yeah, I never played. I didn't finish 4, and like, yeah, the only ones that I'm really like finishing, and like, I mean, I could get into the Far Cry games. The stories are really good. I think maybe it's the open world element, and because I'm a bit of a completionist when it comes to a lot of games, I just like when there's just like boring missions to go and do just for the sake of completing something. I kind of get burned out, and so when it comes to first person shooters in particular, like, if it's a really like more linear story like what Halo does, I'm much more likely to get through it these days. Because just first person mechanics just are kind of boring to me now. I'm just not into
Yeah,
like
I've
the
never enjoyed
super
them.
quick. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So that's all I got going on there. One last thing I wanted to talk about before we called it here was Squid Game. I still need to watch the series, but I read this headline before we hopped on, and it made me laugh. Squid Game is becoming an actual game show in South Korea.
Interesting.
There will be cash prizes, obviously not as much as the people are trying to be awarded in the show, and there's no killing. So just to put your mind at ease,
Yeah.
but they are doing like a actual like live reality Squid Game in South Korea, which how do you not capitalize on that? I saw there's just so much coming from the show right now. I saw like a marketing guru. He was like, "Hey, here's a hot tip for anybody who wants to like build a business right now. Literally print out a bunch of cards with the triangle, square, circle on the back, and then just put a phone number or a website or something on the front of it, and boom, that's going to be like a powerful marketing like strategy to get
Yeah.
people driving towards your business now. Like,
Yeah, if
hey,
Play
not a bad
Pause
idea.
Media had a phone number, then doubly we would do it. But I don't need to get called every fucking 5
A
seconds. So
hotline.
it
Yeah,
is what it is.
it is
It
what it
is
is.
what it is. All right, I think this is where we're gonna call it on the streams and the podcasts. So if you listen to this on the podcast, check us out. You can watch us instead if you want. I don't know. That's up to you. I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
look at our
it's a
faces,
thing
be our
now.
guest.
We're online.
If you want to listen to our podcast, you already are, so that's cool. If you're watching us, we have a podcast. You can listen to that. Links in somewhere in the bios. I don't know. We're on every podcast thing, so you just gotta look us up. For our general listeners, you obviously noticed that Steph is not here. She will be taking some time off for the foreseeable future for a bit. So when she gets back, she gets back. We'll see what happens. Like I always say, it is what it is.
And if you got something you want to say and you think, you could do it on camera, let us know. Maybe we can have you on as a guest.
Yeah, we can get call-ins. We can do anything. If you have something to say about what we talked about today, about Bond being a millennial, being just everything against everything
Did you
I
call
said, sure,
Bond a
let's have an
millennial?
argument. What?
Did you just call Bond a millennial?
No, it was stating points. Like if you have something to say about Bond or being a millennial or you want to argue with everything I've just said in this whole podcast, let's do it. Because Matt will join your side for the sake of it. So
Probably.
just to see where I go with it. But I'll do it.
All right.
Yeah. So that's where it is. Well, thanks for watching / listening / watching / and listening. That's a weird thing to do. Anyways, till next week. As always.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. See you.
Bye.